What happens when one of Hollywood's most intense actors faces a morning show host who thinks he can play hardball? You're about to witness one of the most brutal exchanges ever on live television. And trust me, the escalation is shocking. Make sure to subscribe and leave a comment, sharing your thoughts on Tom Hardy's response. This is wild. Tom Hardy sits across from George Stephanopoulos on Good Morning America, and the tension is palpable. Hardy is there to promote his latest film, but Stephanopoulos has other plans. Dressed in his usual understated style, simple black jacket, Hardy's eyes suggest he's not in the mood for games. Tom, thanks for joining us this morning. Stephanopoulos begins, his practiced television smile in place. Your new film is receiving incredible reviews, but I want to discuss something else first. Hardy shifts slightly, jaw tightening. Sure, George, what's on your mind? There's been controversy regarding your comments on method acting and mental health. Critics claim you've been irresponsible in your approach. Hardy's expression changes instantly. His eyes narrow as he processes the comment. Come, but with an edge, he responds. That's an interesting word choice. George, care to elaborate. Stephanopoulos leans forward, confident. Several mental health advocates have criticized your interviews about diving into dark psychological spaces for roles. They say you glamorize dangerous behavior. Do you agree? Hardy's Birmingham accent sharpens slightly. I'm asking the questions here, Tom. What do you say to parents worried young actors might follow your example? A long pause. Hardy stares at Stephanopoulos as the studio falls silent, sensing something is about to go wrong. Parents should be concerned, Hardy finally says, about morning show hosts who do zero research before ambushing guests with loaded questions based on gossip. Stephanopoulos. Ismail falters. Tom, I don't think that's fair. We're just trying to have an honest conversation. Hardy laughs shortly, not reaching his eyes. George, mate, if you wanted an honest conversation, you would have informed my publicist. Done your homework instead of reading talking points off a teleprompter. But that's not what this is it? Our viewers deserve better than this tabloid garbage masquerading as journalism. His voice controlled, but stormy, Hardy presses on. Tell me, George, when was the last time you researched method acting? Spoken to mental health professionals about the therapeutic benefits of exploring difficult emotions in a professional setting. Stephanopoulos is rattled but persists. Tom, I think you're being defensive. Defensive, Hardy repeats, disbelief in his voice. George, I came here at 5 a.m. to talk about a film I care about. Instead, you're trying to create a gotcha moment from quotes taken out of context. That's not defensive, it's called having standards. The quotes speak for themselves. Stephanopoulos counters. Do they? Hardy challenges. Which quotes? Can you cite them word for word? Silence. Stretches. Stephanopoulos checks his notes. Well, there have been several interviews where you discussed your intense preparation methods. Several interviews, Hardy repeats slowly. But you can't quote a single one specifically, can you? Not the publication, journalist, or exact words. You accuse me of irresponsibility but can't even specify what I supposedly said. That's not journalism. That's character assassination. I have the information in my notes. Stephanopoulos says, then read it. Hardy urges. Give me the exact quote that worries you about my influence on young actors. Stephanopoulos fumbles through papers, sweat forming. The quote isn't as important as the overall pattern. The quote isn't important. Hardy's voice rises. George, you just questioned my professional integrity for 5 minutes based on something you claim I said. And now you say the words don't matter. Then what are you saying? From where I'm sitting, it seems you brought me here under false pretenses to ambush me with accusations you can't articulate. The studio tension is palpable. Crew members exchange worried glances. Camera operators. Hesitate. Stephanopoulos tries to steer back to safer ground. Tom, let's talk about your new film, he says. No, George. We're not done, Hardy insists. You just attacked my professional methods based on research you haven't done. You owe your viewers an explanation. Name one mental health advocate who's criticized me. Kib. May I name? Stephanopoulos shifts uncomfortably. There have been several articles. Hardy repeats. No names, no quotes, no specific criticism. George, do you realize you're doing exactly what you accuse me of? Damaging a reputation based on vague, unsubstantiated claims. You've told millions that mental health advocates think I'm irresponsible, Hardy continues, and suggested parents should worry about my influence on young actors, but you can't provide a single piece of evidence to support any of that. The camera catches Stephanopoulos, looking increasingly flustered. We have producers who research these topics. Your producers. Hardy repeats, a tone almost pitying. Now, George, let me ask you something. How long have you been in journalism? That's not relevant. I think it is very relevant, Hardy counters, because what you're doing right now isn't journalism. It's gossip. Lazy, irresponsible reporting that gives actual journalists a bad name. Stephanopoulos. Face reddens. Tom, I don't appreciate your tone. And I don't appreciate being ambushed on live television by someone who couldn't bother with basic fact-checking. But here we are. We invited you as a guest. You invited me under the pretense of discussing my work, then immediately launched into an attack based on information you convey even better. That's not hosting, George. That's entrapment. The studio audience sits in complete silence, watching the unfolding train wreck. Crew members glance at one another nervously, likely debating whether to cut to commercial. Tom, I think you're overreacting. Overreacting. Hardy's voice drops, making it even more menacing. George, you accused me of potentially harming young actors. You suggested I'm irresponsible regarding mental health. You implied I'm a bad influence, and you did all this without a single shred of evidence. How exactly would you like me to react? These are legitimate questions about celebrity responsibility. Stephanopoulos insists. Based on what? Show me the study. Show me the expert opinion. Show me anything other than your producer's interpretation of what someone might have said about something I might have done. Stephanopoulos looks down at his notes, stalling. The concerns have been raised in various media outlets. Various media outlets, Hardy echoes. George, do you hear yourself? You sound like a politician dodging a corruption scandal. Various sources say people are concerned. It's been reported. These are weasel words. This is how people speak when they're making things up. I'm not making anything up. Then prove it right now on air. Show me one specific example of what you're talking about. Silence stretches. Stephanopoulos shuffles papers, looks at the cameras, then back at Hardy. Tom, I think we're spending too much time on this. We're spending exactly the right amount of time. You made serious accusations against my professional character, and now you're trying to run away when asked to back them up. That's not how this works. Nobody's running away from anything. Then stop deflecting and answer the question. One name, one specific quote, one piece of actual evidence for any claim you've made. Stephanopoulos sweats. Visibly, our research team compiled information from multiple sources. Your research team, Hardy says slowly. Compiled information. George, that's not an answer. That's corporate speak. You're hiding behind your research team the same way you hide behind anonymous critics and vague concerns. I'm not hiding behind anything. Then take responsibility. Either admit you don't have specific information, or provide it. Stop trying to have it both ways. Stephanopoulos glances off camera at producers, clearly hoping for rescue. Tom, I think our viewers would prefer to hear about your new film. Our viewers deserve better than this. They deserve hosts who do research instead of ambushing guests with tabloid rumors. They deserve journalists who can back up their questions with facts instead of hiding behind weasel words and anonymous sources. You're being very aggressive here. I'm being precise. There's a difference. You came at me with serious accusations, and now you're upset that I'm asking you to back them up. That's not aggression, George. That's accountability. The camera shows the studio audience, captivated yet uncomfortable, as if witnessing something they shouldn't. Stephanopoulos tries once more. Tom, let's try to have a productive conversation here. We could have, if you'd asked honest questions about my actual work instead of manufacturing controversy for a viral moment. But you chose this approach, so let's see it through. Stephanopoulos makes one last desperate attempt. Tom, I understand you're passionate, but surely you can acknowledge celebrities have responsibility when speaking publicly about sensitive topics. Hardy stares. Long voice sharp. Absolutely, George. Celebrities have responsibility just like journalists have responsibility to their audience. Just like morning show hosts have a responsibility to prepare properly. Just like network television has a responsibility to maintain basic integrity. I think we maintain high standards here. Do you? Because right now, your audience is watching you make unsupported accusations. Ask questions without research, and dodge accountability. Is that the standard you mean? Stephanopoulos begins losing composure. Tom, you're being incredibly difficult. Difficult. Hardy's voice rises slightly. Disbelief in it. George, you ambushed me with false accusations on live TV, and you think I'm difficult for asking for facts. What did you expect? A professional conversation. Then you should have conducted yourself professionally. Done your homework. Prepared actual questions instead of tabloid. Gotcha nonsense. Stephanopoulos looks around, clearly hoping someone will cut to commercial. Tom, I think we need to wrap this up. Now you want to wrap up after 10 minutes of attacking my professional integrity based on nothing. After implying 2 millions I'm a dangerous influence on young actors. Now you want to move on. We had limited time, and you wasted it on manufactured controversy instead of discussing my work. You made that choice, George. You decided this was how we'd spend our time. The studio remains dead silent, except for the hum of cameras. You can see crew members frozen, unsure what to do. This has gone completely off the rails. Tom, I'm going to ask you one more time to please tone it down. Tone it down. Hardy's voice lowers again, but somehow grows even more intense. George, you just told me to tone it down on your show after attacking my professional reputation. Do you understand how insulting that is? I'm just trying to have a civil conversation. Civilly. Hardy lets out a bitter laugh. There's nothing civil about ambushing a guest with unsubstantiated accusations. There's nothing civil about making claims you can't back up. There's nothing civil about trying to damage someone's reputation for ratings. Stephanopoulos is sweating heavily now. His professional mask has completely slipped. Tom, that's not what this is about. Then what is it about? Explain it to me. Explain to your viewers why you brought me here under false pretenses. Explain why you thought it was acceptable to make serious accusations without doing basic facts. Explain why you think journalism means repeating gossip and calling it news. We're trying to ask important questions about celebrity influence. No, you're trying to create controversy where none exists. You're manufacturing drama for television ratings. And when called out, you hide behind vague concepts like celebrity responsibility and important questions. The camera shows Stephanopoulos looking completely defeated. But Hardy isn't done. George, let me ask you something. Do you have children? That's not relevant. I think it is. Do you have children who might see this interview? Children who might learn from how you conduct yourself professionally? Tom, please. Because if you do, what lesson are they learning right now? That it's okay to make accusations without evidence. That ambushing people with lies is acceptable. That when you're caught in your own negligence, you can just ask people to tone it down and move on. Stephanopoulos looks off camera again, clearly pleading with his producers to end this. Tom, I think we should take a break. Break? Hardy stands slightly in his chair. George, you don't get a break from accountability. You don't get to make serious accusations against someone's character and then walk away when asked to justify them. Security. Stephanopoulos calls out Tand. That's when it goes completely insane. Security. Hardy's voice is filled with disbelief. You're calling security on me for asking you to back up your questions with facts. This is unbelievable. Security guards begin moving toward the set. Hardy shakes his head in amazement. This is what modern journalism has become. folks, he says, looking directly into the camera instead of at when called out for shoddy research and unsubstantiated accusations. Journalists call security instead of admitting mistakes. Tom, you need to calm down, one guard says as he approaches. Calm down. Hardy looks at the guard, then back at Stephanopoulos. I'm sitting in my chair, speaking incomplete sentences, asking for basic journalistic standards. What exactly do I need to calm down from? Remove him from the set. On what grounds? Hardy asks, still seated calmly. For asking you to provide evidence for your accusations? For expecting you to do your job professionally. As security moves closer, Hardy rises slowly, deliberately. This is remarkable. Absolutely remarkable. I came here to talk about my work, and I'm being removed for expecting basic journalistic integrity. He looks directly into the camera one last time. Folks, this is what happens when you ask for accountability in modern media. Remember, this moment. With that, Tom Hardy walks off the set under his own power, leaving Stephanopoulos sitting there, completely shell-shocked. The studio audience sits in stunned silence, and television history has been made. The camera lingers on Stephanopoulos for a few more seconds, showing him shuffling papers with shaking hands before finally cutting to what had to be an unplanned commercial break. What did you think of that brutal exchange? Tom Hardy didn't just defend himself, he exposed the shallow, tabloid style of modern morning television. Subscribe for more breakdowns of moments when celebrities refuse to play the game. And drop a comment telling me which part of Hardy's takedown hit hardest.